What is up? Welcome back to the Huddle, your weekly playbook helping you guys gain forward progress in your career. Simply put, we're here to help you win. For our new viewers, welcome to the team. For my guys on the other side of this screen, welcome as
What's up,
always.
brother?
Thank you for being here every single week and being
Paper
the
clips.
the glue, screws, stamps, everything of the Huddle. You guys are awesome. Love love this time of the week where we get together and get to talk about a few things. Today's topic: collaboration, working with other trades for success. I added that last part myself, but I think that's a key, and this can be in we'll kind of maybe run through how to work with homeowners if you're doing work direct with homeowners. But if you're dealing with builders in the residential world or general contractors on the commercial world, this is a good topic for you. Today's sponsors, we would love to thank Divergent Adhesives. If you need great adhesives, I mean, who else to go to other than Sonny? The guy knows the ins and outs of flooring like nobody I've ever met, and has created a great adhesive line for our industry. So go check out Divergent Adhesives and buy some of his adhesives. And then you need training, and you got to be trained properly to do this business. And where better to go, specifically in the residential world or the resilient world, than NAFCT? Speaking of great trainings in the NAFCT, Daniel Gonzalez went and had a training in Ohio and joined us from there a while back. Was that last
That
podcast
was
or the
last
one
week.
Yeah,
before?
last week.
Yeah, last week. So sorry,
So
my week.
fast.
It was
Yeah,
when
I
you were
know.
out of town and no one could hear you and everyone was getting angry. Or I
Yeah,
mean,
I got hate. I got hate because no one could hear me. Uh, Rightfully so. Apologize for that last week, guys. But I do want to say that I did my best. I wanted to be here, and I probably should have just bowed out early. That being said, how did that training go, Daniel? How did everything go, and how were the students and everybody?
it went great. I mean, the students were very receptive of actually learning. We actually had a couple guys from our own hometown here, so that was kind of one of those things where you think, and I brought it up to them. I was like, I don't know how you view that, right? Because we're in the same hometown, so sometimes people look at you a certain way. And I said, I'm probably nothing like the way that some of these people try to make me out to be. And they were like, yeah, we can actually see that. And I said, I'm just here to teach, man. Like, it's just going to level the playing field when you guys go back and say, yeah, there's not enough money into what you guys have going on right now.
Yeah. Well, I've been in this training, you know, advocacy role for quite a while, going on a decade, probably really heavy with what everybody knows as previously as Go Carrera, now Trade Tap, and really pushing for training and building a platform that recognizes that. One thing I've come to, I think, realize is there's a lot of companies that actually want to keep the working force dumb. I
Yes.
think they want to keep them dumb because they don't want them to charge what and tell them, hey man, you're too low. That's not going to fly. And the more people that we get on the having a VTI and running that way, the more all the companies can work towards paying what a particular flooring product requires. I've said it a long time. It's really hard for a single company to just change the market on its own because we won't get any work if we, or very little work if we, if a flooring company by themselves, you know, does, try. Let's just use an example on tile. if my competitors are paying out $4, well, they're not even paying that. Let's say 350 a foot, and I'm paying out. I want to pay the guys $5 a square foot to install tile. Well, that's going to be real impossible when it comes to um, like getting work if the I'm turning down my phone, it keeps going off on me over here. Um, but it's going to be real impossible if all my competitors pay less. So it's up to you guys. The people watching this primarily is pretty heavy in the installation industry. It's up to you guys. Like, go get your VTI. We're going to be live right after the first of the year. You can go get a hammer rating right now, but go get your VTI and then band together around the huddle and around the VTI to command higher prices. That's the vision.
It is a collective too. You're right. You just when their power is in numbers. If everybody goes out and understands that they offer, or they understand the value that they offer, not as competitors. Like we're not competitors. We're all in it to win it. And you got to look at it as a team effort. It's hard to
Well,
do that when you feel like
if
you're against everyone, but if you band together, you can get those rates to where you need to be for
you want to
cost of living.
compete, you want to compete at $3 a foot or at $5 a foot. I don't
Right.
care if you're going to compete regardless. Where do you want to compete at though? I mean, like compete like at a rate that makes the job worth doing and you know profitable for you and a good lifestyle. And there's too many guys out there. The plague for all of the guys who are well trained are the guys who are not well trained going out saying they can do the work and acting as though they can do it, and then frankly not have the talent or training to be able to actually do it the proper way. And if you continue to compete like that, that's like a full on Ford dealership, you know, um, mechanic shop versus your shade tree mechanic that's got
Right.
a cherry picker hanging off of a tree in his backyard. I mean, that's of course that guy's going to be cheaper. But the factory trained guy that knows how to work on your brand new Ford is probably a better option. We know this in in with automobiles. I mean, like you kind of know that. You don't take your brand new truck anywhere but the dealership. I doubt you take it to a shade tree mechanic. Well, it's the same thing. Like quit hiring shade tree installers is the goal, hire high quality installers. Well, that means you have to know. So
It's just a gamble, right? Like from the installation standpoint, as long as I can find me some installers that don't want to learn too much and their installations last a year, I'll be good.
yeah, I don't think most quality companies look at it like that, honestly. It's
No,
just
I'm just,
about
yeah, I'm giving
the
an example.
reason, the whole reason it happens, in my opinion, I think most people is everybody feels the same way as I previously stated, which mean is I can't pay higher rates because the company down the road doesn't pay higher rates. So if I pay higher rates, I'm probably not going to win the job. But it has to be this collective that raises the waters for everybody. Anyway, we got off on a tangent there,
It's
Of
always
course.
tangents everywhere.
but so the training went well. Everybody feel like
Yeah.
they got their money's worth for a good training.
Well, yes and no, because we split it up into a training and certification. So you can do one part, the other part, or both. And then there were some guys that their company sent them there for the entire thing for the certification. And I was like, you guys could have just came for the training. And I showed him the flyer. He was like, yeah, they threw us to the wolves. It was just some maintenance guys from a VA hospital that they wanted to do repairs and stuff. And it's like, they've never even
Probably
dealt
not
with
going
this
to
stuff
get
before.
certified.
But listen to that though. They sent them for training just so they can do repairs better. When we have
Yeah.
guys who are out here doing it for a living that don't want to go get training, or the people they work for don't advocate for training, and they're doing it for a living.
Yeah, it's a great example.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like maybe change. You might if you're a handy mechanic, change your own oil. You know, but you'd have to be really handy to go doing the whole tune up and dialing your computer in and everything on these newer vehicles anyway. We're not
Yeah,
talking 1970s Camaro or something like I used to have. I could work on
easy
every bit
peasy.
of that car. I can't. I don't even want to open the hood of my truck. But
Yep.
yeah, it's like that. You just being able to do a little bit. That also could speak to just not having they're wanting to take care of some of the small stuff. But there are some companies who would love to, like, a maintenance guy to handle it because they can't get somebody to come out and take care of those smaller things, or you know, um,
It's, I mean, with them, they said that right now they're in the process of hiring all of their installations out, but they're just gonna focus on the repair aspect of things because right now they would still like do one-off rooms and stuff like that. And he said they're gonna hire that all out, and then their main focus is gonna be, high impact wall protection repairs, ceilings, drywall, and then flooring. And yeah, they got a really good lesson into just getting thrown into it. It
well, they
was,
sure might value a good side benefit of that is they might really be able to like explain the value to their higher ups of hiring somebody for a bigger area. Also, I mean, if you think about it, they're like, "Hey, can you do this repair?" And they're like, "That's more than a repair."
Yeah.
So going to a training like that with you, Daniel, probably like open their eyes to understand what they're capable of and what they're not, and be better suited to communicate that with their employer. Like, "Hey, that probably needs hired out."
yeah. Or I actually told him, I said, like, all you got to do is tell them to get a hold of the NAFCT, and we'll do a specialized like training for you guys. We'll come in, bring all your guys in. We'll do an actual training where you don't necessarily need to do the certification, but at least you'll know how to do something.
Yeah, a little more than. Well, they can expand their capabilities in the repairs. A lot of those guys, they certainly, as flooring contractors, we don't want owners doing their own stuff, nor does manufacturers or others. But at the least, them understanding how to better perform, like you said, repairs or doing small stuff that needs to be done, and then hiring out the rest. But I mean, we didn't specifically go into the collaboration, but that's a sort of collaborations on its own. So, getting to the topic, collaborating with other trades for success. I know we've talked about this a bunch on this podcast because every week we tend to go towards, well, we almost always talk about training and what we can do there. And then one of the other common rabbit holes is how to work with other people and getting our jobs done and being profitable on doing that work. And a lot of times, I don't know if it was last week or which podcast it was, but we started talking about, knowing the plumbers and knowing the people early on in the project, whether you're doing a big development of spec homes and you're working with a residential builder, you still want to know where the progression is and be able to call or talk to, the window guy or the HVAC guy. Hey, man, you're going to have this done by this date. I'm getting ready to move in there and start my LVP. Um, we do the same thing in commercial. We want to know, like we talk to the painters, electricians, the HVAC guys. Those are the three most important things to us. Painters to just get out of our way most of the time. Uh, the electricians because we need freaking lights and power to do our job, and also it's a good insight whether or not the HVAC system or the building controls are going to be on and live when we get there. And then, of course, the building control guys to make sure that everything gets turned on, even if they have power. I've plenty of times found out that, oh, well, we're not going to have everything's hooked up, but we don't have permanent power because the power company hasn't turned on that, hasn't come out and activated the transformer or whatever work they do up there. You guys ran into that before?
Um,
We don't have permanent power, so we can't turn on the units.
yeah, that's. I mean, brother, we're in Michigan, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're trying to get everything done before the snow hits, and sometimes it's fall, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna run this propane temporary heater in here, and the windows just got plastic on it. Can you guys install this? I need this done next week." Nope, I can't. Can't do it. Why not? It's clean. We clean it for you.
Well, yeah, and the propane heaters are even a bigger problem, especially with
Yeah,
tile.
throwing moisture in the
Uh,
air.
yep,
And the chemicals that are in that moisture adversely affect the setting of your thin sets and grouts.
yep. All the science stuff.
Hmm.
Fortunately, on commercial projects, even some smaller ones, a lot of large ones, you have a schedule to look at. So you can look at the schedule to kind of see who you might be overlapping, right? And have those conversations early on. Hey, this shows that you're going to be in here at the same time I am, but man, I think we're going to be each other's way. Is this accurate? What can we do to work with you on it? And people are pretty cool as long as you're proactive, but the last minute changes that happen are when somebody has to adjust their schedule after getting set up is when you start getting the attitudes and, well, I need this area too. And
Yeah.
We all need this area all at the same
yeah,
time.
Well, and we've said it 100 times on here that we're kind of the most disruptive part of the finishes because we take up the entire room. We're not just occupying 2 square foot with a ladder to put in a light or occupying, around the room to paint or ceiling tiles not done where the whole room has to be shut off. When we come into a space, the whole space has to be shut off. And so it's pretty disruptive. But hey, if there's any GCs watching, put us last. Like that's where we belong.
that's where we want to
And
be anyway.
that's
That's
where
where
we want to be.
we'd rather be there.
Yeah.
I don't want people dragging stuff across the floor that I just did. Do you know how heartbreaking it is to do pattern on something and then come in and you have arcs and inlays and you come in a day or two later and you've seen that someone got a rock stuck under a a pallet jack wheel, and they said, "Oh," you can see how many times they tried to get it out of there. It's like all you had to do was stop. Like it
Hmm.
stopped for you. All you had to do
Or
was,
just not be there.
or just not be there.
Yeah. There's I remember when we used to do a lot of schools in VCT and the ladders, they don't
The
realize it, but they
pressure.
put the ladders on the edge, and that pressure would scoot that VCT and cause gaps along the deal, because your sheetrock's off the floor that far. It's not like you're cut tight to it, and even if the sheetrock is all the way to the floor, you still need a little gap there. Well, they slide that VCT, and I can't. Back in the day, we don't do as near as much as VCT as we used to. Most of it's
No,
been replaced with LVP or LVT. Um, but man, that used to bug me to death. Like, give it some time. We just finished laying. You're already throwing ladders on it and climbing up them. Well, that puts pressure and it spreads it out.
you didn't glue it right. You
Lots
didn't
of
glue it
funny
right, man.
stuff.
It's coming apart. You didn't glue it right.
I've heard everything from you guys installed it with gaps. Oh, this random gap along the cut,
It's for expansion. It's for
right,
expansion, brother.
right along the wall. Yeah, with that we did that. So what other will you guys take up some space with tricks of the trade, um, with collaboration. I just want to say that collaborating with others is key. I don't care if you got a GC or not. It's one of those things that if you're not doing it, it's going to be you're at the disposal of what is dictated as opposed to you being part of that collaboration. So,
Right. And then the great thing is when you walk in on job sites and they look like this.
yeah.
I'm sure everyone has been here.
Hey, that's a recent one.
Well, since we're sharing war stories on that,
Well, this is for the other trades to see, right? Like, that's ready.
this is, I don't know, if
I'll,
this can be seen,
I'll take this off of here.
That,
but half that room was done in uh, Protect All, and the other half we're starting. This picture was taken yesterday afternoon
oh,
at 4:30 or so, and we're supposed to start that area this morning. And I was like, I think we need to clean that out. It had, if you can see in that picture in the background, there's like three or four lifts, some scaffolding, Perry scaffolds, and then another lift, and then just tons of, you know, trade carts. And I'm like, you
yeah.
know,
Raleigh, you're right, brother. That is that was
That's
an
super clean.
experience doing the episodes where trade you had no choice, but everyone was on
oh,
top of each other.
Restaurant Impossible. Is that
Yeah,
what he's talking about?
so we're out there doing that. Like, you have to learn how to do it while someone's on a ladder over you. You have
So,
to go against every bone in your body to say, "Get out!" But it worked
how
out.
are those projects to work on? I mean, you want to talk about collaboration? We ought to have frickin' Rollin on here
Oh, dude,
talking about it too. I mean,
we
that
should.
has to be like a major collaborate. I mean, that would be the perfect topic for him to be chiming in about. You want to talk about collaboration? Is there a GC on those jobs on the Restaurant Impossible work?
So yeah, it's the gentleman Tom that was on the episode, like the construction guy. His name was Tom, and I believe the construction company is an actual real company that comes in and does all that as well. D4, I want to say. I don't know if they changed their name or not, but yeah, that's all legit. Like, that's what they do. It's really legit, and they came in and they made a game plan, and a lot of it is on the fly. There might be a little bit of like pre ideas, but some of it is site conditions. Let's find out what's here.
Right. Nate's on Instagram. He said that they're fun though because he's done four of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. D9, there you go, D9, and it's a challenge. Like the first one, when Ronald was like, "Hold on, what?" And we were all the way in Mississippi, Shreveport, I think, and they're okay. We'll just start demo. We'll start prep. Hey, don't step here. Hey, don't step here. Hey, hey. Then you, like, your barricade you carry with you while you're patching. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
these are a week long projects, or how
I think they're
long?
there for like 2 days.
no, we were there for. I think they have like 3 days, right? But in those 3 days, they have to get the different parts of the show. Like they have the questions to the staff and all that. So, but like construction, when that starts, that doesn't stop until it's done. That was a 24-hour ordeal, and we ended up being on the graveyard shift because no one else was there, except for like maybe a painter or designer, whoever's doing the murals.
Oh, so they run the construction schedule for 24-hour periods, like
Yep.
round the clock.
Yes, sir.
And wherever you fall, you fall.
You kind of gotta. We had to get in where we fit in. Like, as soon as they got some stuff out, we went and did the demo, clean up, pulled out, slapped some patch down, and then they did some more stuff, some lighting or some ceiling work and some painting, some wood on the walls. And then as soon as they get past a certain area, we jump back in and it's like,
Well,
we're gonna start installing there.
Nate
But
said that flooring is also usually done in the middle of the night.
yeah, that's where we got pushed to. But we came in spurts on the first
So
one.
this is an hour by hour schedule, not a day by day.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody knows the end goal, and it's a matter. Communication is huge. The second one that we did, or third, I forget which one it was, but where Rollin got vetoed from the job site. He said, "Hey, guess what, Tom? Hey, Jose's in charge. I can't be in here because of COVID, and he's got it." And I'm like, "I got you, bro." But it went. It went. We got it done. Got it done. We were tired.
And
Got it done.
what products were you guys using?
The first one was LVT.
Yeah.
They're all LVT. Oh no, two LVT. One was sheet vinyl, pattern sheet vinyl. The second one was the really bad one where we removed really sticky carpet over wood substrate, and we ended up having to put underlayment in the whole
Mm.
restaurant. Yeah, that ended up turning into a very long,
Yeah, because you
long.
never know what you're getting into.
No, I went in there and was like, we had to tear some up, and Rollins like, we need underlayment, and I got out there early, and I was like, boom, hey, can you guys stay open so my guys can come and pick up a skid? Can you guys, like, we need to make this happen. This is what it's for. I'm sorry. And they were able to get it, and they got out there, and that was a true night shift.
He
Well,
said that he could come in after the film crew left because George had it.
George,
I don't know that I understand what he's saying there. Can you
oh, so
clarify?
Him and George rode together. So you have to. We had to test for COVID when we got to site and checked in. So
Oh,
they do this. They did the swab, and George tested positive, but Rollin did not. But since they rode together, he could be carrying. So they said, "Sorry, too many people, too many problems." So he just sat back and drank his coffee and kind of instructed from the way over there, like, "How's it going? Good. Okay."
that's funny. Well, it does speak of night work as part of collaboration. A lot of times, that's just easier for us on commercial work is sometimes getting started 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock when that everyone else is leaving. Have the GC like, hey, we're gonna come in tonight and start installing. So you got to make sure everybody's stuff's out of the way. Most times they do that, but we've had a few times we show up and we're like, well, we're not movers too. That's the other thing about being in flooring is like so often it's like we're the cleanup crew, but they want us to pick up. If I mean, we've had jobs where, and again, this is more like con- commercial construction managers, architects, everybody's like in the mix when they're using software like Procore to throw job site pictures up all the time. And so there's plenty of times and I got a job coming to mind right now where one of my guys are fighting this where we go in and it's not ready. We shoot them pictures and then they will just clear out the room because we have no place else to go or that's the next place we have to go. And then we have a pile of trash that we didn't take out the end of the day or but it's consolidated into one section, which obviously we always want our guys to take it out, but it was a long shift. They didn't take it out, and we get a picture of this. Hey, daily cleanup required, and we were like, what about this picture? And 50 times worse that we walked into that we had to clean up just to do our job. So, there's that part of it is incredibly frustrating. Can really tick you off if you're one of the installers in those scenarios.
Yeah, because what do you do? And that's one of those instances where Daniel and I came to the realization that we either say, "Hey, sorry, you're not ready," and leave, or we say, "All right,
I'll help
let's
you move
just
this stuff.
we'll help everybody move it because I'd rather help you move for a half hour with five guys than to have all my guys lose work for a day and go home."
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, like you just have to most of the time. That's collaboration at
It
its
is,
finest.
but
Although I got to
that
say that
helps.
it sometimes you just got to do it. It'd be nice if every time we went in, it was clean and ready. but you know, it's just not the reality. The whole collaboration thing is being willing to give a little to get a little
Yes.
as well. And sometimes we get lucky where you got a good another good sub. And if you work in the same area a lot, you get to know the people. I mean, you mentioned that a few podcasts ago. But knowing the people and helping work with them and helping them out a little bit so that when it's time, because this is certainly no, this ain't like friendship. Hey, I'll give you $50. Don't worry about it, buddy. And you forget about it. This is like I'm doing something for you. I'm gonna expect something back later on
Yep.
job sites. You know, you gotta.
Well,
Uh,
we just it was to the point on one job site where it was just unloading material, right? And we had
Oh,
like a whole bunch of VCT, and it's like they're unloading every single something from us every single day, and they're like, "You owe our guys beer, you owe them donuts." It's like you're getting paid somehow.
yeah.
yep.
And we've been proactive after learning some of those, like, because nobody explains that to you sometimes. But after learning some of that, you start showing up and saying, "Hey, what do you guys like for lunch? I'm going to buy pizza. You guys want some? Your crew want some? Who's the guy in charge of the sky track? What's his name?
That that's one
What
of
does
your
he like
most
to
important.
drink?"
That's one of your most important guys right there. Is whoever's driving the lull or
Yeah,
the telehandler on site. You know,
yeah,
because we don't we don't have them. I mean, we've rented them a time or two on jobs, but for the most part, we don't have them out there. It's usually the masons and the drywall guys will almost always have a telehandler out, and you gotta know those guys, even though you're not collaborating with them once you're in the job site, like the masons. For the most part, they're outside or out of your way by the time we get there as flooring guys. But man, that guy has saved our rears on jobs. I can't count how many times just unloading it.
that's one of the things that I wrote down when I read the title. It was like food and drinks. People are happy when their belly is full.
Yeah.
If you know what everybody likes to eat or drink, and you help out, they'll remember that.
Well, and you know, at the end of the day, you guys all we all have the same goal to get a project completed on time. So if you can work with the other trades, that job that I showed you the picture of, we let them paint one side and then focus on that side because the painters were supposed to be done and out of our way. They had to do dry fall first, and we couldn't be in there when they're doing dry fall at
Yeah.
all. Then we had to sweep all their dry fall up.
Oh,
So
geez.
for those of you who don't know, you should not sand a floor if it has dry fall on it. The heat almost
Mm.
grinds it into the surface of the concrete, and you can have bonding issues. So just pro tip: don't ever sand over dry fall. It's just like that dust. Sometimes if they didn't do a good job, it can be heavier, and that I make them take it off. I'm like, all this stuff needs to be out. But essentially, we take a big broom and just broom it up, not worrying too much about it being super clean. It's just about getting 99% of that dry fall off the floor before you start sanding your floor. But
Well,
once I got done with the dry fall, they did that one wall and got that half of the room, and that's about a 6,000 foot room of protect all. And
Nice.
yeah, and they got with some Terraflex inserts, some four square Terraflex inserts. But they got that whole side done, and we went over there, got all our major patch, and this harkens back to one of our previous episodes where we were talking about like sequencing your work. We got in there and we told them just get everything off the saw joints, and we started scraping saw joints and cleaning them and getting our first coat on them.
That's that installer mentality, brother. I tell you what. That's the.
right.
Mm,
Yeah, we were on a project like that last year too, where it was like it was so busy, and they're like, "What do we do?" I said, "Start on the saw joints. I mean, start filling something."
Yeah,
And
clean and fill saw joints up. We got all that done, and by that time, they were finishing up their first coat on paint there. The next morning, we went in, did our final prep on that area. They got all the stuff moved out, and they finished painting, and then we got that whole half of the room done. That's what I'm talking about in collaboration. Otherwise, we'd have to wait. And part of the problem is once we have guys scheduled on a job, and I don't know if you guys are the same way, but like once I have guys scheduled, it's like if I was to open up my schedule, they're not sitting next week.
Right.
They're on another project, man. They're already scheduled for another project out for a month. And that's a lot of times how we're scheduled. So can't work with, if we didn't work with those people because the painters didn't get done in time, then we are going to be like what, going home for 3 days, 4 days, and then we're not going to be able to finish the job before that crew has to go to another project. Then we have a manpower issue. So
Have
that
that conversation
collaboration
weekly.
helps us keep on schedule as well. So it's beneficial all around.
Yes, sir.
How do you guys
Nate
prep?
Nate on Instagram says that the collaboration thing is he thought was pointless at first was construction meetings, but it was one of the most beneficial things that could
Oh,
happen was getting everyone in the same room talking about the schedule, like what's going on, what are you doing, where are you going to be at.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from some residential guys who do like builder work on how that works. I mean, I have an idea, and we've done some big duplex projects where it's like a whole low income housing area or something, and we're going through, but that even has like a developer and a GC. It's still kind of ran a little bit more commercial feeling than a builder doing spec homes. I wonder how that works in a whole development. Do they like get together ever and talk about that stuff?
that's a good question.
but
I don't
but in
know.
the
Yeah.
commercial world, I mean, job meetings are almost like you kind of, there's like a love hate relationship in there, you know. Uh, that sometimes they're early on specifically they can be almost worthless. Although if you throw in there like, hey, I see you have the painter here on this date, are we putting our base up and then them cutting to it, or are they going to be final coat? Like, what's the, you can kind of make your
Yep.
impact in those meetings early on, even. But sometimes they feel like a little bit of waste of time until you're involved, and then they're like incredibly important.
Yep. 100%. Well, it's about stacking those dominoes so they fall right, and that's what it is. You have to wait until it's your turn. Sometimes it's not your turn for a little bit, but when it is your turn, you have all the information you need to go ahead and drop down your hammer, drop down your piece, and say, hey, this is what's going to be more beneficial. And sometimes it's a learning process for everyone else too. Sometimes they just don't know that you can't hang base on freshly painted walls because it's too
Mm-hmm.
soft. It falls, reactivates the paint and falls up. They just don't know.
Yep.
I didn't know that until we had to bring stuff up. So yeah, this.
Well, I had this same or a similar deal. We're doing a job, and it's all carpet on the stairs, but the stringers are steel that are painted. And they were like, "Well, we're painting these today. We want you here in the morning." I was like,
Oil
mm-mm.
based paint.
Yeah. I was like, dude, I'm not coming for 3 days. That stuff
It
has to
is,
cure, or
yeah.
else we're gonna scrape the tar out of it, and you're gonna be repainting. Well, how about I just hold them off and we'll paint up to your carpet? I was like, you want to see a bad paint job? Try to paint stringers up and like get back low enough under the nap. I said, unless the guy's gonna put a
Drywall
big
knife.
drywall knife on the side
Yeah.
and do this number.
But then they go back and they stick right to it anyway. Then you have fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, at the end of the day, they painted and we waited for a few days. I think it was three before we went in there, or no, it was 4 days before we go in and start our carpet on those stairs. But it's just stuff like that to go to your point, Jose, is that sometimes they don't know, and Your job is to inform them. And it's just like having painter or a drywaller in the same room, in like that room I showed you. I No, I cannot go in while they're sanding drywall.
Sanding. Oh my God, that's the worst.
There's nothing I can do if they're sanding drywall. Now, if you're done, we can talk. But if they're still going to be sanding drywall, that drywall dust is going to get in my adhesive. It's in the air. It's going to take a while for it to fall. It's going to fall on my adhesive and cause bonding issues. So nope, I cannot be here. you know. So yeah, sometimes just educating them, but ultimately collaboration is about like, okay, we'll come in here, or being willing to work that night shift when you need to.
It's
No one
about
likes it.
yeah, it's
No
No.
one
about
likes to work the
creating
night shift.
partnerships.
Not unless, I don't know. When I installed every day, I a lot of times tried to get it to the night shift, and that was just me. It was
Because
just
then you
so
could be
much
there when
easier.
no one's there.
I just get so much more done. I'd show up an hour before I was scheduled to be there to make sure everything got moved out, and then my crew would show up, and then we could really get a lot of work done. And most of the time, you it's a double-edged sword. You blow away the customer. A lot of times we'd blow them away with how much we got done in a single shift when no one's in our way. Uh, and then the bad side of that sword is then they are like, well, you can do that, expecting that amount to be done all the time. And I'm like, that was a scenario where you had everything moved out
Yeah,
perfectly and there was no trades in my way that we got that amount of work done. Now you got me jumping from this corner to that corner, this corner to that corner. There's no way to get that amount of work done. So yeah, that collaborating together and really working together as the sub trades is like paramount.
I tried to get an electrician on here. He's been on the podcast before to kind of speak his piece and like what's easier for them and what kind of what get a different perspective. Um,
Do
but
do
he's
the do electricians despise us as much as sometimes we despise them?
If you work with me, they do.
Oh my God, I
uh,
cannot stand wire pieces and stuff when
see,
they come in to do the smallest thing and they don't clean up after themselves. It's my biggest pet peeve on a job.
I like it is bad, right?
Completely
But
perfect room that you just vacuumed everything.
the worst is the drywall finishers.
to,
They
yeah,
like you say that electricians don't own a broom. Well, these guys don't own anything to clean up anything.
Well, I tell you what, the painting and drywall together, like that paint band they like to do. We try to tell ahead of time, like if you don't want to be back scraping up paint or being charged for me to do it, use a piece of protection of some sort
on the
when
floor.
you spray this,
Yeah,
because otherwise that paint has to come off the concrete. I can't lay over it. Here's ASTM F710 that tells you very clearly I can't lay over paint or dirt and grease or any of that stuff.
Yeah, there's one of the contractors we work for, they do their own painting and stuff. So anytime they're like spraying, they're actually like taping around the
tipping.
doors and
Yeah,
putting paper down, and it's awesome. You don't get that often, but when you do,
we
you
like to
feel
say it's
spoiled.
because of us. We like to think that anyway.
Well,
Nate
we
says that he had a Finnish carpenter leave the base up 3/4 of an inch because the pad and carpet were going to cover it, and the carpet and tack strip were less than a half inch.
yeah. I see base mold or a quarter round or a lot of work in that guy's
Man,
immediate
He
future.
said he put something underneath the tack strip.
he
Oh,
probably
he
put
brought it up.
he put it on one side of the room, the other side of the room, the middle of the room was down this far. He was like, "We're good."
Yeah, so a lot of this, you know, obviously runs into some of the problems you have with different trades, and I agree. Like drywall mud fall everywhere, and they say, well, you're sanding on the floor anyway. Yeah, I'm sanding the floor to get dirt off of it, dude. I'm not sanding your clumps of drywall mud. You need to take a go around with the scraper and scrape all that stuff up. The worst actually is when it's textured walls and they spray texture and it
Oh
is
yeah.
everywhere. And they walk it onto the oh man, and on Gypcrete it's even worse because it doesn't just scrape off. It gets down into those
Uh,
rough pores. You know what I'm saying? And then you got gypsum material which you can't lay flooring over, ground into a
yeah.
Gypcrete floor.
Well, anything you put over that freshly, like they're supposed to seal it right when they're done, but then you grind and you foot traffic and it grinds that sealer off, and you got to redo it again anyway.
I do have a question about that. Do you guys do like hotels and stuff like that where
Hmm.
they have gyp? Do they do you have the same problem where they don't seal it? They want always want us to seal it. And we're like, no, they
Well,
make a sealer on the backside of Gypcrete that is well
so typically
then
they do put a sealer on it, but then it's just wore off by the time we
It
get there.
wears off, wears off
yeah.
like 100% of the time. Just
We've
anywhere where
had
there's heavy traffic.
yeah, we've had problems with it not necessarily wearing off. I mean, if they use like Maxon overspray and do it correctly, I mean, it soaks in a good
Yeah,
half inch
quarter
to an
inch.
inch.
Yeah. Oh, does it really
Like,
go that deep? Okay.
yeah, if it's done right, it'll go deep. The problem is if it's still drying, and this is what the GCs will always tell you, is that it is um, they're not supposed to do it for 7 days. By that time, the Gyp Creek guys are off and on another project. They don't leave no one behind to spray everything, and so it hasn't dried out yet because the moisture has to evaporate out of that Gypcrete, and then you seal it. If you seal it too early, it doesn't penetrate very deep, and that's why you're having that walk off where it's
Mhm.
coming off issues because there's too much moisture still in the Gypcrete.
They just need to add. They just need to add a really distinguishable dye to all of those that for the gypcrete that's going to get covered, so that everybody knows when it wears off. Everybody knows when it's not sealed. You can just walk in and look at it.
Yeah, or just, mostly what happens is we charge them to do it. And I'm
Again,
like, it
yeah.
has to be done. I can't, and I don't seal. I mean, this is part of their scope, but that's where it gets mixed up. It's like, is it part of our scope or their scope? We know it's Gyp Creek floors when we bid the job, and that it'll have to be sealed. And I'm
Well,
like,
you have to
well,
look in their
so does
spec
the
too, right?
yeah, and it's usually not in our spec to seal the floor. It's usually just a spec saying how to install it, but it doesn't typically say, seal Gyp Creek floors or seal,
But the finished
Well,
product that we install
my
says
point
to.
is, my point, well, it says that they have to be properly sealed. My point to my GCs has always been, okay, but they also know that this is getting tile or whatever, and it's what product did they put down? He's like, well, it's a Maxon under Gypcrete, and I'm like, and what's the sealer? Oh, it's Maxon overspray. Gotcha. And how is that mine? So it's kind of funny, but at the same time, you know, and we do it pretty cheap to be honest with you. It's not like we try to make a bunch of we just want to keep our job going. Again, that
Yeah,
collaborating between and just keep the project moving forward. But
Yeah,
many square feet add up though.
yeah.
Jesus
Jesus says
says,
right here on here too. You know about the sheetrock guys always have to charge extra for cleanup and scraping all the mess. On one of the projects that I was just on, like we had our tools in the room and they're just doing repairs. And I go the next day and I think maybe I was gone for a day or something. I go back and there is drywall mud all over all of our tools.
Yeah, flick 'em.
dang,
Some flingers.
So
that's
I'm not gonna
wrong.
lie. I grabbed a bunch of our mud from our cleaning bucket from our patch and I dumped it all over their stuff and a bunch of dried like from buffing and stuff. And when
We're gonna have
they
to start a show featuring Daniel called Trade Wars.
Retaliation. Yeah,
Trade Wars, like Storage Wars.
bro.
And they
Because
they
that
were
is
like
some,
they were like, "Hey, the guys were really angry today because they came into this and then sent pictures." And I was like, "Yeah, now they know how it feels. Maybe they should take care of other people's stuff too."
yeah. Well, unfortunately, you don't to get every worker on a job site
Sorry,
together is
dude.
tough. But man, the certain trades, well, we've already named them. Painters and sheetrock guys and electricians more so. I love you guys, electricians. If there's any out there watching us, but the if you are going back in and putting your you know cover plates on, pick up the plastic, like,
The clippings
or
just,
they're
yeah.
going in after we're ready. We clean everything up. A lot of times we'll do our final skim coat right before the end of the day. It dries overnight. We come in and sand the floor, sweep it. Um, they'll go in there and think, oh, they still got to sand this floor, so all these wire ends will be fine. No, it's not fine. It gets stuck in the bottom of our sander and will create heat, which removes our skim coat off of the floor.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those are just my little whiny moments of working with,
We're floor guys and
yeah.
resilient floor guys at that, so we're even more whiny than anyone else.
Oh yeah.
Well, and there's this thing called gravity that puts everything on our floor, and so we have to deal with that.
Floor
Ceiling
guys,
guys
man.
don't have to worry about it. Well, the painters don't have to worry about stuff. I often say when we have these discussions, and I've had it like where GCs are defending the painters and like, well, that's how they're. Oh, you have to expect that, and I'm like, no. Do they expect on when we go in doing our patch and patch
Let's just,
flings on their wall or
yeah,
adhesive
dude.
gets on their wall? Should they just expect that?
That was my argument.
Yeah,
The
dude.
other big thing, talking about all that back and forth stuff, is glue removal on demo. We have fought
Oh,
that for so many years. I feel like for the core of our contractors, we're through it, but a lot of times they'll go in, we give them a demo number, we're higher than they are. They go in, they take up the carpet and leave the adhesive. And they're like, well, that's part of floor prep. But we literally just went through this on a major job, a big job. And it's ran out of our Kansas City office. And so our manager up there happens to be my son. He's like, how do I approach this? I'm like, well, that's part of the product. You can't have carpet without adhesive. So you the product is not just the stuff on top. That glue
the
is the
system. It's
product
part of the
as well.
system. Yeah.
And so if you're demoing, then you got to demo the product. I mean, you wouldn't demo drywall and then leave screws everywhere and then tell the drywaller to come install it. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And we went through that. The most rewarding thing is it took them 3 weeks to get the glue up. Because the GC was like, oh, that's nothing. That's just you're because we gave them a price to remove it, and it was pretty high price, but some of it was pressure sensitive, which is a bear to get off the floor. Some of it was old broadloom. Some of it was on top of old cutback. Like,
Mm.
it was this mixture of stuff, and we're like, you can't just use one technique to get it all off. Like, the scrape away head works pretty good on the broadloom glue, but it doesn't work for crap on
Yeah.
the pressure
Pressure set.
sensitive.
Yeah.
And so, you're kind of working through this deal with them. They had like 10 guys with razor scrapers in there, and it took them almost 3 weeks to get uh the glue off the floor.
You know
It was rewarding, even though it pushed
that
us
that
off.
does.
It was rewarding because I was like, see, that's why it costs so much, because you either got the time or the expertise to get it off.
Yeah, and you
And when
learn
he
that.
says, well, you guys probably have easier methods or better methods, I'm like, yeah, that's what you're paying me for, is my methods, my means and methods. You're not just paying me because I work hard. You're paying me for my means and methods.
Yeah,
How do you
we
guys
need
get
Yeah,
this
we would have
8-inch
gotten
experience,
this
scraper?
done.
guys.
We would have gotten this done a lot faster than your guys did. but you're not paying me just to have some laborers on here that don't know how to remove the adhesive effectively, just drudging through with 4-inch razor scrapers trying to get the job,
You know
the
what's
stuff
funny is
removed.
you said
So,
that. I just turned in a labor only project for another flooring contractor, and she called and said, "Hey, the owner said that they're going to do their own demo. Can we remove that?" I was like, "Yep." She was like, "Put a line item on there for an allowance because you know they're not going to remove the adhesive." I said, "Got it. We're good."
yep.
So
Yeah, well, we've finally gotten most of our guys where uh, most of our contractors where they understand that, like, the demo is part of the adhesive is part of the demo. So either you give me the adhesive, and if that's what you want me to remove, that's fine. But don't expect me to do any of that stuff for free.
you know what? I'm looking at Jeremy's comment on here. I don't think Daniel put it up, but he's talking about floor guys bring the brooms and the trash cans, and all of a sudden everybody's using them, right? So I know that this episode was about like working together and teamwork and all that. But I will
Well, you
say
can't
that
do that without discovering why you have to do it,
it's,
which is all this
right.
stuff.
So I will say that some of the best relationships that we have now started on a really rough patch. And to use Jeremy's comment here, and Daniel's done this too, is if somebody's using your trash can, you go and tell them, "Hey, no, this isn't for you. This is mine. I need this. We're working with it." And they fill it up again. And we're going to use the electricians because the last time I dumped one out in front of them, it was electricians. I took my trash can, dumped it out in front of all their pallets, and said, "Go get your own trash can." And that was a while ago. I'll be honest, like some petty stuff, like the way Daniel's talking about the mud. I was mean. But you know what? After the fact, they used their own trash can and they respected our tools, and we worked with them on other jobs, and they had all their own stuff, and we laughed about it later on.
Well, you know, we didn't show this either, but Jorge agrees with me. That, and then he says they're always leaving little wires everywhere. That is the thing that bugs me. Those little wires,
You don't
little
like the
ends.
knockouts? You don't like the
Oh, come
knockouts?
on,
Oh yeah,
man!
the
It's a
knockouts
pain
that
in the
don't
butt.
sweep up.
Look, so
Yeah.
little secret. I was an electrician. I did electrical for like 11 months, right? I
Mm.
laughed every time I left the wires and the knockouts. I was like, "Ha ha, pow!" Just knock them out with my needle nose and just left it there. And I look and I go, "Dang!" But I go, "Ha ha!" So making somebody mad
Was that before you did flooring or after?
during.
During. So
Yep.
you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, 100%. They know what
We
they're doing,
should
brother.
we should
They know what
we
they're
should.
doing.
I was kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Look,
Never do
look.
that.
At first, I did try to carry I had a bucket I sat on and a little bucket that I threw my clippings and everything in. But then you have your pouch, you have your whole harness. It gets like you're dragging a lot and you're trying to move quick.
Jeremy, replying to Jorge, what's one of the things you'll never hear on a job site? How well the electricians did cleaning up after themselves. That's funny.
Jeremy was in that
Wow.
class last week too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was a classic Jeremy overthinking stuff, trying to redo things 45 times. Classic Jeremy.
Well, I'm glad the training went well. Again, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors for this episode, Divergent Adhesives and NASCT. If you need a great adhesive that's going to meet your job site conditions, uh, obviously they still need to be within reason. But those demanding job sites, go check out Divergent Adhesives and give them some love.
And then one more
And
thing before we go is definitely where I want to pop
Boom.
this up every episode because this is going for a couple more weeks and we're going to end up doing the giveaway live here on the 18th, I believe, November 18th.
yeah, go check. We go check this out. Go QR this. Sorry, I was thinking like probably should have put this up right away, and
It,
it slipped
we
my
got to
mind.
do it.
But get this. All you gotta do is QR it and follow the instructions for bidding. I guess I don't know if I should say bid, but it's a raffle. As you guys know, this is to help Denise as she's dealing with the loss of Dan Churchill and a friend of the industry, a friend of ours, and so please support Denise and help her out. Like Daniel said an episode or two ago, we don't know what the cost impact is. We know there's a massive cost impact to this for her, and every little bit helps. So get on there and let's help them out, guys.
Yeah. Do what you can. I know times are tough right now, but any little bit helps, and we definitely appreciate you guys that have donated already.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks to the NAFCT for sponsoring this episode as well. Daniel, as one of their trainers, had a great training down in or over in Ohio. So be on the lookout as we roll out at TradeTap. We're going to be rolling out the training hub, and a lot of these opportunities are going to be right at your fingertips soon. So we will definitely do a big announcement when all that comes to pass and uh, help you guys get access. But looks like a great group of guys there that was at the training. Get involved, get trained, and get what you're worth on your projects. And let's band together as a team. I was presenting last week about the VTI, about the Verified Trade Index, and a guy that I was talking to, um, actually he was on the podcast here not long ago, Jeremy, but he had another tech company he had built. He came from the trades as well, but he was like, "Yeah, this is kind of like how it puts the finished trades on par with the electricians and plumbers from a licensing standpoint."
Was it
And I was
James?
like, "That's a really good, yeah, James Hatfield." Sorry, I said Jeremy. My bad.
That's because
Sorry,
Jeremy's in the
James.
picture.
But yeah, so and that's true. That's one of the ways we can band together right there and make sure that I'm not saying we keep anybody out, but let's make sure that when people are bidding projects or providing labor services on jobs, that you know what you're getting, and we know what we're getting as a owner, and everybody's very clear on what the expectations are. Then again, please show up for Denise and click the QR code and go participate in that and show some love. So
And we
with
hope you
that,
guys all win it at the same time, even though we know it's only going to be one of you, but we're rooting for everyone.
we are rooting for you all.
He ain't never
Um,
lie.
quick reminder to give us some love on our social medias. Give a like and subscribe. Comments are always welcome, and we certainly appreciate all the live comments that come through. It helps us to connect with you guys and bring you good content. So
Yeah.
keep up the good work, and follow us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and all of our sites. So
And
Oh,
Nate says happy Halloween.
happy Halloween, Nate says.
All right, everyone. We will see you later.
all
thank you,
right,
everyone.
see you guys.